It's Friday. You ain't got no job. I'm just playing. Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. You are tired of searching YouTube. You're tired of searching the internet. You can't find videos. Everybody's just hogging up all these keywords. And you're like, can you get to the point? You want to learn FL Studio, but everybody shows you all this complicated stuff. So you quit, you X out, go to the next video, and it's a repeating cycle. I can prove to you that this video will end all that confusion because I've taught over 1 million producers around the world. Some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Glorilla. Some have won Grammy, some have won platinum plaques. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the ironclad, if you will, process on how to master it's like that. FL Studio. Let's hop into FL Studio. I need you guys to smash the like button, by the way. If you could take a couple seconds and all right, thank you. If you get lost in FL Studio, no worries. All you got to worry about are these 5 buttons. You don't really have to worry about them, but you know what I'm saying. Just click any of these 5 buttons. If you ever get lost, just click these and you'll be like, oh, that's where the thing went. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is take 1 to 2 days and just download all the drum kits and sounds you can find on the internet that are for your style or for other styles that you want to create in the future. So really take that time because that is where 99.675% of music production comes from is the actual drum sound. So you can't really get that without downloading this stuff in your DAW. Okay, so once you take those 2 days, come back to this video and watch this video. Okay, so here's the channel rack. This is where we build out drum patterns, this little icon here. Firstly, we need drums to actually make it into a pattern. So firstly, let's go to, I'm going to give you guys a project file, but if you go to busyworksbeats.com/blueprint, I have over 3,200 sounds in here, and it's for hip hop and trap and R&B. So we're going to go to the 808 folder. We're going to look for like a hard hitting 808. So let's kind of go through our list here. Let's use this one. Let's open that one. We're going to right click and open a new channel. Basically what this is going to do is add the sound to what's called the channel rack. This is just where we stack sounds basically. So think of them like layers in Photoshop in a way. Actually, here's the one I want. Boom. Right click here. Let's open this a new channel. Boom. All right. So what we're going to do is teach you a drum pattern. It's called tresillo. So that's ta, 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 ta. Okay, so tresillo can be found in Afrobeat, drill, West Coast music. I said Afrobeat, right? Yeah, Afrobeat, drill, West Coast music, trap music. It's everywhere. Once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. Okay, so tresillo is very complex because you can do different things. You don't have to just do the same thing. But for example, let's open up the channel rack here. Turn your metronome on. We're at 140 BPM here, and just draw notes like this. These are equidistant notes and just repeat it. So it goes doom, 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 and just listen to it. Now this is, we're at 140 BPM, which is really fast. I'm going to crank this 808 up a little bit. Tresillo, 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 tresillo. Kanye beat. It's a Kanye beat. Just like that, you get a very energetic dance energy. Once you understand that one pattern, tresillo, you will unlock so many drum patterns. What we're going to do, though, is do a different type of style. We're going to do boom, and then tresillo is going to land on what's called the snare. So it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around it until you do it. So basically, when your metronome hits, we're going to count. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm turning up the volume so you guys can hear. Now that you know how to count, okay, what we're going to do is put the 808 on the 1 and the 4. And then at the 4, it will begin to do what's called tresillo. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's add it there. 1, 2, 3. Let me turn the volume back down because now it's too loud for my eardrums. 1, 2, 3, tresillo. 1, 2, 3, tresillo. So that's a J. Cole type bounce. All right. Let's go back to our browser. So I meant to mention the browser is this button here. This is where you find your sounds and where you store your sounds. If you don't know how to add sounds to FL Studio, just drag the folder straight into the browser. It will add it to the browser. If you want to do it the old way, the boomer way, go to options, go to file settings, and go to the unk way, if I should say. Go to options, file settings, pardon me. Click this folder icon and add the folder from your computer, okay? And that's how you add it into your browser. If you don't see it, just hit this little refresh button up here and it will show it. Okay, so now you have Blueprint in your actual browser because you went to busyworksbeats.com/blueprint. Okay, now let's find a snare. So included in the full Blueprint, which is like all the sounds, we're going to grab a snare here from my go-to kit. And Let's right click and open this up. And what we're going to do is put the snare on the 3 and the 7. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you ever need to turn sounds up, I recommend you guys do it inside the channel rack. There's many ways to turn up sounds, but this is the best place is to turn it up in the channel rack, in my opinion. Okay, so now we have a rhythm. Now let's add this rhythm to the playlist. Let's go to where it says song mode. So you have pattern mode. This is where it just plays through the channel rack stuff, like the rhythms you're building. If you go to song mode, this is where we start adding the puzzle pieces to our song. This is where you basically make a song at, okay? Let's go to song mode. And what we're gonna do is do a couple things. Click this magnet and go to bar mode. Because if you don't have this on, you're gonna probably have it on none. And you'll click in stuff and you're like, why is it not lining up? You will just drive yourself insane. I'd recommend you just go to snap to grid, bar mode, just like that. So the panel picker, if you guys don't have this, click the drop down here, go to panel picker, pick the packer pecker. All right, click here, enable. All right, we're gonna drag and drop, okay? And that's how you get the pattern. Now, a shortcut you wanna get used to is if your pattern is perfectly lined to the perfect picker pattern pepper, if it's perfectly lined up, then you could hit what's called Control B to latch paste. Latch paste, it pastes to the end of wherever the other thing is. To be short, if you mess up and it's like not on the grid, like just this small amount, like if it's off the grid by like a hair, even just like that, and you hit Control B, it will latch paste incorrectly and you will actually cause your beat to drift slowly off beat. Okay, so make sure that it's perfectly lined up to the grid. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do all these steps to make it perfectly lined up again. Grabbing a slice tool, right click. Okay, so that's how I'm making it. And then click on it. Hit Control B that thing. All right, let's do this for 16 bars. We're at 140 BPM, so 16 is really 8 bars. So all we have is just the bass and the snare. We don't have any hi-hats yet or any kind of rhythm. Now, what I recommend you guys do is click in your channel rack right here, go to a different pattern. If you have a lot of patterns, you could right click here and find first empty. That will open up a blank pattern where you can add a different rhythm. Let's go to our browser. I like to keep my browser open until I pick all my sounds. Now let's grab a hi-hat. We're just gonna right click, open a new channel here. And we're gonna right click, here's a little shortcut. What I like to do is just add a hi-hat somewhere randomly to the right and then right click and fill each 2 steps. So now we have a long hi-hat pattern. Now, I'm boring you guys a little bit because this is a little tedious, but basically this goes over by 1 bar. So I'm just gonna right click, get rid of the excess here until it visually goes down to 2 bars. You don't need to know all the details there. It just helps my workflow. Let's hit Control B to add it all the way through. Now, if you're a beginner, keep that metronome going because you want to get used to like counting music. So I think J. Cole's beat was at 87 BPM. So what's 87 times 2? Is that like 160 plus 14 would be what, 174? So let's crank this up to 174 to get a J. Cole vibe. Let's turn the hi-hats down so you can kind of mix as you go. If you go to the channel rack, the hi-hat's too loud, just grab this channel volume, just turn it down. So let's say your hi-hats are too stiff. Go to your hi-hat. You could trim out the excess. Go to the rinse tool and turn up time shift just a little bit, just so it's not perfectly right on the grid. What this is doing is delaying the hi-hat. I'll exaggerate. Now you get more of a 90s bounce. All we're doing is delaying the hi-hat. This actually sounds kind of fire. So let's keep it delayed. Okay, so now we need a piano. So let's go to pattern 3. We're gonna click this little plus icon in the channel rack. Let's open up this thing called Flex. So Flex is like, they're still trying to perfect it. Basically, I think you get a couple free packs. So just scroll down on the store tab until you see the essential pack, and then go to library and download the essential pianos, guitars, strings, etc., etc., etc. Go to essential pianos, click on where it says Yamaha C7, and now we have this kind of like, you know, I'll say kind of because it's not the greatest sound in the world, but it's a piano. Okay, so it's a grand piano. So I'll show you guys how to draw notes, but normally I would play out notes. think that's Crocodile Tears by J. Cole, if I'm not mistaken. So if you go up here to keyboard, you can right click here. Make sure you turn this on. So if you don't have a MIDI controller, which is what I'm using, this luxurious item, if you don't have that, just click this button here where it says type keyboard to piano, or typing keyboard to piano, which will allow you to use your QWERTY keyboard. And that will be your keyboard for your MIDI. So you could actually type in your keyboard to trigger notes. So personally, you don't have as much detail doing it that way, but if you want to do it that way, you can. I'll show you guys a workaround. So let's go to channel rack, and all these sounds, I'd start recommending once you get a lot of sounds, hit Control S for one. It's like burn that into your memory. Control S, save, save, save. If you make changes, hit Control N. That will save it as a new version. Okay. So as we go to the channel rack, let's double click all these and then hit Control L. That will send everything to the mixer and give it a name. FL Studio is not like other DAWs that kind of automatically do it for you, so you have to do it yourself. The reason we do this is so that we can add effects to individual sounds. Like I want to add an effect to the piano. I don't want it to affect everything though. So let's draw in the notes. I'm going to draw in the notes, but normally I would play it by hand. Maybe what I'll do is I'll draw the notes in and then show you the difference of playing it by hand, just so you understand the difference here. So let's go to pattern 3, a blank pattern. Just right click here, find first empty, hit enter, and then we're going to right click, and then we're going to go to what's called the piano roll. Now here's where you draw out your melodies and your chords and your bass lines. I'd recommend you guys change your snap to grid to either 1/2 beat, or if you're more advanced, 1/4 beat, but I like to keep mine on a 1/2 beat. It just makes the grid not look chaotic, okay? So what we're going to do is start at, what was it, E? So let's start here at E, and then we're going to drag it out because we want it to feel like a real piano. With a real piano, you have what's called a sustain pedal. So if I just play this note by note, it's too bouncy and it sounds kind of amateur. But if I hold what's called my sustain pedal, it feels more melodic. So basically the equivalent of that, if you don't have a MIDI controller, is just make your notes longer for piano. And we're going to go up 7 notes. So take this root note E and count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're just going to go up from here in the scale. You don't need to memorize anything. You could just copy me. And then we're just going to come back down. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky, because when you do sustain notes, if you have overlapping notes, FL Studio kind of freaks out and it doesn't play a note sometimes. So what you have to do is make the note short so that it doesn't overlap. So we're going to copy this entire thing and make sure the notes are dragged all the way out like this, okay? So let me just show you what it sounds like without dragging the notes out. It just sounds amateur, okay? Whereas this sounds a little more melodic, okay? So now that we have all that understanding and wisdom, my bad, y'all, didn't realize I was like way off cam. Now that we have the understanding, we're going to grab this, hit Control, left click and highlight. Hit Shift, left click and drag it over. And the only change I'm going to make is here at the ending, we're going to change this note D up to E, which is the same note here. And we're going to do that on the 4th thing. So let's hit Control, highlight this, hit Shift, left click to duplicate and drag it over. So only on this 4th thing are we going to change the note. This is going to give the ear like, okay, we're moving into something new because it's changing. So now we have this pattern 3. Let's add it to the song mode here. Remember, Control B is the quick latch paste. Let's pull the hi-hats back because now it's a little, you can hear the difference in the hi-hats. So let's go back to the hi-hat, go to the wrench tool, just turn that time shift off. Now we have more of a trap sound. So now again, the piano's a little loud. Let's go to the channel rack and just turn it down. It's just a little loud. It's better to get the levels here than to go into the mixer. There's many reasons why. I just don't want to waste time explaining why. Now let's make this beat bang. So this is a J. Cole beat if you guys didn't recognize that. I think it's called Crocodile Tears if I'm not referencing the wrong track. Let's go to the mixer here. Now most people add their effects on the master channel. I'm going to show you guys a smoother way, especially if you record vocals. Let's go to the mixer, which is this button here. Right click and then hit R, and then let's call this what's called the beat mix. So any channels, here's a shortcut. Hit Alt left on your keyboard to move this around, or Alt right to move it around. Okay, so I hit Alt left and moved it all the way. Now I'm going to hit Control to highlight multiple channels here and just highlight every channel in your mixer, all the sounds basically you want in your beat, and right click this up arrow and then route to this track only. So now all these sounds, instead of going to what's called the master channel, which is like the final place, it's going to go to this kind of sub area before it goes to the final place. Finish him. Okay, so all these sounds are going to go here. So now I can basically separate my voice if I were recording from the beat. So I'm just going to show you guys a couple plugins. You don't need to go crazy with plugins in FL Studio until you dedicate yourself to learning mixing. Then you have to kind of level up your plugins. But let me show you guys. Firstly, I want the piano to sound a little more like grimy. So let's go to the piano. Let's click the drop down. Let's go to Fruity Delay 3, one of the most underestimated plugins in FL Studio. Pull the dry level all the way back. Pull the feedback level all the way back. Turn off tempo sync and turn the delay time all the way down. And everything else becomes in effect. So what I want to do here is use what's called time modulation. Again, you don't need to know what this is. Just copy the settings here. Just turn this up. And now you get like a pitch wobble. So it's almost like a drunk piano. And now it has more of an ear gripping effect because it sounds more detuned, it's called. Now, another thing we want to go is we're going to pull this into mono. So now it's not stereo. You can hear it in your left and your right ear. Let's make it mono to where it sounds more center. That gives more room for the 808. Okay, let's go back to the beat mix. And now you have a lot of room for that vocal. So now let's make the beat hit harder. Let's open up what's called the Fruity Soft Clipper. You guys are going to hear this a lot in the FL community, talking about the Fruity Soft Clipper, but people don't really know how to use it the right way. I can't say the right way, but they don't know what we're really using it for. So to keep it short, the reason we use the soft clipper is when your track feels like soft and empty, the soft clipper will add more frequencies depending on how you use it. And it will literally add more people to the party. So your party seems bigger because you're adding more people. Okay, so the same thing here with your beat, we're adding more frequencies. So firstly, before you go into the Fruity Soft Clipper, what most people don't do is add gain. So let's add what's called the Fruity Parametric EQ2. And here on the left side, I learned this from Lifestyle Did It. You guys should subscribe to him. And turn up the main level here. And this will basically boost the volume into the Fruity Soft Clipper. And the reason we do this is because for the soft clipper to really work, you have to hit it really hard. So unless your beat is super loud going in, you're not gonna hear the effect. So what we're gonna do is use this far left knob, and this is gonna turn up the volume before it goes to the Fruity Soft Clipper. And just with those two plugins, you can get a really, really aggressive sound. Now, usually the more, the less plugins you use, the more accurate your sound becomes. But sometimes you got to push your sound to really get there. Let's try one more plugin. It's not going to make or break the sound. But we have the Fruity Soft Clipper. We're going to add what's called the Fruity Limiter, and not as a limiter. We're actually going to turn up what's called the ceiling. And we're going to use what's called the saturation mode. But before we get to saturation, let me debate how I want to do this. Let me think in my head. Let's do saturation first. Ceiling doesn't matter in this step, but let's just lower the saturation. What this is going to do is add more people to the party, just different types of people, if I wanted to make an analogy there. So it's a little more aggressive. I'm going to just really make it aggressive so you guys can hear it, and now I'll turn it off. Actually, let me turn off the soft clipper so you guys can hear what it sounds like. So as I add the tape, saturation. Hear that rumble. The only thing about this is that it has a defined ceiling, so once you hit 0, it just knocks everything down. So it's just a different saturation. Here's soft clipper. Just a little softer, and then here's the more aggressive saturation. So it's just a taste at this point, how hard you want to push the sound. This can also handle transients. I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds of mixing here, but So let's turn it off for now, but let's add another fruity limiter. I want to show you guys what most people skip. Is called expansion. I know I'm kind of showing you guys really advanced stuff as a beginner, but once you like understand these things over time, you'll be like, okay, that's why my beats sound way better. So with the fruity limiter, we're going to turn up the ceiling here. And we're going to use compression mode, but not to turn the volume down. We're actually using compression the opposite way, which is to turn it up. So let's turn the ratio to the left. Again, if you're a beginner, just follow along. You don't need to like make this complicated. Turn down the threshold here. And what we're doing is turning the volume up. Every time the kick hits, it will turn up the volume just a little bit, in a very short amount of time. And it makes the kicks feel more open. So what we have to do is set the release time here and then the threshold. So you're going to kind of balance these two out. If too much of the signal is boosted, you can't really, it's just turning up the volume at that point. We want the volume to go up and come down really fast. So also another thing is, you can't see it here, but there's like a little microscopic jitter. So to get rid of that, turn up what's called the sustain. So what we're doing is adding curvature back to the song so that you could feel it. So whenever your beat feels flat and you're like, dang, I just added all these plugins and my beat sounds flat, you can add what's called expansion to make it sound more vibrant and dynamic. And this is what creates that push-pull effect to where your head starts bobbing to the beat. So without transients, our brain can't latch on to much of anything. Now this song is not super heavy transient focus, but let's lower this threshold. It's a very subtle move, but here's before. Let's turn the hi-hat down a little bit. Here's after. So just a little more movement. So one thing I forgot to do is go back and actually record that melody by hand, just because I want to show you what it sounds like when, you know, MIDI that you click in versus MIDI played by hand. Let's record that same melody. So this is kind of like a bonus. Let's go to the piano here. And I'm going to record with my actual controller. Okay, so I could already feel the bounces a little bit heavier. Now, the technical reason is because what's called the note velocity. So as you guys see in the piano roll here, I know I'm kind of moving fast, but this is kind of beyond the scope. So beyond the scope of the lecture here. So if we go to the piano roll, look at the velocity, you'll see it goes down, up, down, up, down. Whereas the notes that we clicked in, it's straight all the way across, and it just sounds kind of repetitive. So there is a way to make your stuff sound more realistic, but it's just nothing that replaces real playing it by hand. So I recommend you guys get a MIDI controller. I think we said that the best one that we found was the Akai MPK for the value. So look at that one. I don't have one, but I have the FL Key 37. That one's good for FL Studio, but I've heard people like the Akai MPK for many reasons that we covered before. So anyway, there's timing differences here. Like all my notes are not perfectly on the grid. I don't know why my trackpad's not working here, y'all. But if you zoom in with your eyeballs, you'll see. Why is this not zooming in? Okay, my screen's not zooming for some reason. Let's see if we can make it bigger. So here we go. So if you look closely with your eyes, they're not perfectly lined up to the grid, and this human timing just feels more real, basically. Now, if you don't want that human kind of flaw, you could hit Alt-Q to quantize. Now, you need to understand that when notes overlap in FL Studio, like right here, these two notes are overlapping. Sometimes it won't trigger the second note. It is frustrating. So you have to download what's called a script from the Piano Roll Scripts part of the forum called Remove Overlaps. This will just save you the headache. Or you have to manually go in, highlight the note, hit Control, highlight the note, hit Alt, and make sure the notes don't overlap. Okay, so that is very tedious. So somebody made a shortcut for it that you have to download. It doesn't come with FL Studio. Oh, I don't know why I can't zoom. That's such a random. I'm not gonna complain. All right, so now we have that in there. Let's play from beginning to end. Just gonna mess with some effects here. See how that piano, like if it's left in stereo, it's just eating up too much space. And it's like the beat feels too thin. So yeah, sometimes you gotta make your sound smaller. You can already feel that bounce. Way different bounce. Playing it by hand. You guys will get the project files. Just go to busyworksbeats.com. Go to the free downloads. If you want your beat to be like loud, you can push it harder. But you know, at that point, it just becomes crunchy. So yeah, that's how you guys do it. I'm not going to make this video any longer. We're already at what, 20 minutes? How long is this video? Let me see. 27 minutes. I need you guys to subscribe for a 27-minute masterclass on FL Studio. Share with your closest friends that you trust. Add some value to their lives. I want to thank you guys. Go to busyworksbeats.com to get these project files for free. Peace.